Talk Family Civility. And I am so proud to have from Jamaica, Carrie Ann Tom
Yes.
is a media practitioner with 20 years experience. At the age of 19, Carrie was incarcerated for 2 years. A week after her arrest, she discovered she was pregnant with her first child, a child she would have to give up due to her incarceration. The week before her release, she received an order that her father had died in a car accident. These events significantly impacted Kerry on a soul level and changed the trajectory of her entire life forever. Immediately following her arrest, Kerry started delving into personal growth and development. This set her on a 20-year journey of self awareness. Through her own personal evolution, Kerry began studying neuroscience, and her extensive research in understanding more about the human brain and human behavior led her to her book, Discovering You. In 2018, Kerry released her book, Discovering You, which delves into the neuroscience and spirituality, establishing that both are beneficial to our development. Kerry is a lecturer, author, and educator who teaches about self love. Kerry is driven by the conviction that each of us has the potential for greatness. In her easy to understand, encouraging, and compassionate style, which I can vouch for every day, Kerry educates her audiences, detailing how they can transform their lives and heal from past hurts. Tests equal testimonies, Kerry. Kerry's
Mhm.
passion can be found at the intersection of the latest findings from the fields of neuroscience, spirituality, and exploring the science behind transformative change. Kerry is on a mission to impact the lives of everyone she comes in contact with. She has partnered with psychologists, scientists, thought leaders, and holistic practitioners who have performed extensive research on the effects of meditation, rewiring your brain, and transforming lives. And she continues to push the boundaries and lead persons to a higher level of consciousness. Now, we will all refer to her as Kerry, but I refer to her as Kiki because I am sorry. That's the only name I know you by.
No, it's
Um,
Kiki.
and Kiki is has been a co-host, has been a fellow host on our station RGR 94 FM, a Jamaican radio station that was more than just a radio station. It's a family to their listeners, but it's also, I think it's because we were family just as much.
Family to us.
Yes.
Yes, family to us.
So officially, I am Dr. Rebecca Finlayson Harper, Ambassador for World Civility for I Change Nations, and this is Let's Talk Family Civility with Kiki and Kerry too. So, how
Oh, it's
this is amazing. I read your book, and the neuroscience is heavy. I mean, there are not many books that have it so that balance between spirituality and neuroscience. Tell me why that impacted you so much, especially during your tests in life that created these testimonies.
all right. So for many years, Queen, thank you so much for having me first and foremost. Good to see you. Good to connect. Always a pleasure. So blessings to everybody who's online. So essentially, for years, I struggled with, I'd say, depression. I felt I was functional, but you just feel helpless and like it just don't make sense in your mind. And no matter what you do, it just like that thing that you wanted and craved so much seemed to be missing. So it sent me on a quest to try and find more. What is this thing that's missing? Where do I find it? Because I wasn't able to find it in religion per se, but I know that I believed in a higher consciousness and a higher level and a source called God. But I wasn't necessarily completely sold on the restrictions of religion because I felt that God was so much bigger than what religion had purported. And then one day, while just feeling so sad and depressed, I came across Dr. Carolyn Leaf, who is a neuroscientist as well, but she's also a Christian. And I was dumbfounded because I'd never heard science being merged with spirituality or religion or Christianity. And I was like, what? Yeah, what? So I then started delving more and more into what this whole world was about. Um, and in delving, I realized that science actually supports or takes out the mysticism of spirituality, not religion, but
Mhm.
spirituality. And I was like, so something as powerful as, for example, as when you meditate, when you actually get to a certain level of connection, that hold on one second, Queen, sorry about that. That when you get to a certain level of connection, for example, your all the blood starts rushing to your heart. And for the first time, it's almost like everything starts working in sync, you know? So it's heart and brain coherence when you start. And then one of the biggest realizations for me was I am not separated from source.
Mm.
One of the big things that liberated my energy was I am source. Right? Hold on one second. Hello.
This is what happens when you work from home. Not an issue, not an
But
issue.
work from home, I
Yeah,
know
this is
that
exactly it. The home, it's like,
home
yeah. It's like I said, as a joke before we came on, funny enough, I had to shout around the whole house, quiet on set.
that's why I was laughing. I was cracking up when you said that because that's of course our function, which is quiet on the
Yeah,
set.
that's what we do. So that's amazing. It's so funny because my per- my son has decided to pick up the cat in the middle of all of this, and it's so my personal motive, you're funny you talk about it. Mine was Dr. Kevin Lehman, who is a spiritual psychologist, a Christian psychologist. And I love
Yeah,
the marrying of, you don't have to be a scientist and not believe in religion or not believe in
right.
spirituality because, we've been having these discussions a lot lately since the churches have been shut down as a non-essential service here in Canada. I don't know what has happened in Jamaica, but in Canada, it's a non-essential service, so churches have been closed. I guess also because of gatherings, and people are now looking at the difference of spirituality versus religion.
Because there is a difference. There
Mhm.
is a difference. And here's the thing. All right. So
So let's go back to your book now, because what I want to
yeah.
do is, one thing that hit me and why I had to have you on, because Ambassador Robert, Dr. Robert Ornelos, he was
Mhm.
saying, and he made a very good point, and also Dr. Motula said it on Friday in the Family Civility Summit, which I'm going to be posting on YouTube and stuff. Dr. Motula actually is the one who said it. He says, how can you love your neighbor if you
If you
don't
can,
love yourself?
exactly.
And that is the
Exactly.
breakdown. We don't have a lot of self love anymore. And that is why civility has broken down so much, because we cannot love our neighbor like ourselves if we don't love ourselves.
Exactly. So essentially, one of the biggest things for me was understanding how the structures have been set up and how we have actually evolved with a broken concept of self. And what I say is, if you look in a broken mirror, the mirror is broken, but it doesn't mean that you're broken.
Oh, yeah.
And so that is what's happening with us. So on two levels. So the first level for me is I science can only evolve as much as technology advances. So the developments or the discoveries that they would have made years ago, they are now able to do so much more based on how technology has advanced. Now, when you die, it's proven, scientifically proven, that an energy field lingers in the room when you die. So I ask persons, what is that energy field that's lingering in the room? Some persons will say, well, that's your soul or that's your spirit. And I said, exactly. So therefore, where does that soul or that spirit come from?
Mm.
It comes from the source that created you. So it's almost like if I give you a slice of chocolate cake, would you have to see the entire chocolate cake? Would you have to see the entire chocolate cake to know that that slice came from a chocolate cake? No. If I give you chocolate cake, you'd know that it came from chocolate
Yeah.
cake. So therefore, if I have energy in me that lingers in a room, it must mean that the source that created me is existing in me. So I cannot be separate from source.
Mm.
So it means then that being reflected as Carrie in physical form, you are source being reflected as Queen Rebecca in physical form. And that was like, oh my God. So therefore, if the energy of God is love, then it would mean that our natural course is love. But when we're born into society, we're born into broken psyches, broken dreams. We are born as unconditional beings, or beings programmed for unconditional love, but we're born into a society that's been programmed for conditional love.
That's
So sooner
that's amazing.
or later, so sooner or later, we're going to learn how to trade in unconditional love for conditional love. And it's so sad because look at how a baby or a child loves, Queen. You will never see unconditional
Like a
love
child, I say that all the
like
time.
a baby or a child. Exactly. And until you start projecting your brokenness on your child,
Mm.
or project your expectations, or until society starts reprogramming our minds, that child is perfect until we start programming the child. And humans are the only species that's known to deprogram their young.
Yeah. But you talk about projection because when you look at, like, for instance, the narcissistic disorder, right?
Hmm.
That's their biggest thing is projection. They project on others their insecurities, their faults. And
Right.
it's the same thing we're doing. And so we all have a narcissist in us when it comes to
Hmm.
parenting because we tend to project either in two ways. We project our faults when we see them in the child. As you know, I always say on my show, our children are our mirrors.
Of course.
And this is where it comes to family civility and being a preach. So family civility and defining a family in this civility is your primary group, which we're discussing right now, that loves, supports you, and is civil to you.
Hmm.
That is the definition of family in family civility. And
Right.
why we say it like that is because we don't define family by mother, father, children. We don't define family as a nuclear family. We have changed the definition. We now have a new era of family, a new generation of families that come in all sizes, shapes, forms, sexuality, everything. And we need to, as a nation, to accept all different types of family, make the children, and this is where you come with the deprogramming. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, we all children are made of love. You are perfectly right. No child cares what type of parents you have in preschool. But by the time they go home and they say, well, Johnny is my friend. Oh, did you meet Johnny's parents? Well, he has two dads. And then that's where the deprogramming comes in. Oh, no, no, you can't play with Johnny because he has two dads. Or poor Johnny has only a mother. Where's their father? Oh, no. So then, of course, that child goes back to school and says, cares about Johnny and says, I'm really sorry you don't have a dad like I do. And that is
Hmm.
like, really? Instead of, and this is, so now Johnny feels bad that he does not have a family like that child. And then it starts. I am I'm not, I have a disadvantage even as a single mom when you're going to get for help, social assistance, because it's only one income in the house or you have special needs. You're made to feel like, oh, I know you're a single mom. We're going to do everything. No, I don't feel bad that I'm a single mom. I enjoy being a single mom. I love it.
Hmm.
There is
It's just that
nothing wrong with being a
it's
single mom.
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I think persons are more compassionate to single mothers because it's way more stress on a woman. You know what I mean? So parenting is one of the most challenging, time consuming, labors of love that you can ever do in your life. You know what I mean? It's a gift of selflessness, so to speak. And therefore, as a single mother, if it is taxing for two parents to take care of a child, it's even more taxing on a single mother, you know?
Sometimes
So I think,
it's easier as
I
a
think,
single mom because
I think oftentimes it's more compassion and empathy as opposed to, oh, look at you, you're single, but it's single parenting is a very big deal.
and
And
both
I'm talking from
parenting is a
experience.
big deal. There's no
Yeah.
ifs and buts about it. But if you are
Yeah.
not made to feel like I can wallow, and you're made to feel okay, you're a single mom, and you know I'm happy for you here. Do you need help? What do you need help with? Well, I have a specific case because as a non-single mom, I will still have the same social problem in my family as I did as a single mom. If I have a child that has
Mhm.
special needs, if I have a child that's misbehaving, it's the same thing that would be happening, and
It is. It's just more pressure
it's a
on
more
one mother as
pressure, but
opposed to
there's
two parents.
so much support that nowadays to
Yeah.
have it that I don't need to feel bad that I'm a single mom.
No, you don't. You shouldn't.
And
But it's
and my
just that,
child does not need to
yeah,
be felt bad because their father or their mother is not around. I think that's the
right.
biggest thing. They should not feel bad or feel disadvantaged. Albinism, it's so funny because albinism is a very, it hit me in the face hard because we shouldn't, and this is feeling sorry for people with disabilities or patronizing them or making them feel less than. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
difference between equity and equality, but we're moving way away from your book. So let's focus back because you and I will have discussions all the time. So
Right.
now that we're talking about family civility, and why I wanted you on for the first after the summit is that in order to love others that how you would like to be loved, right? The
You have
golden
to love
rule,
yourself.
you have to have self-love. And your book
Right.
focuses on discovering who you are. Because another thing that came up on Friday's summit and conference was, and I'm saying it now, why is it when we have finished being a mother, when we've finished being a daughter, when we're finished being a sister, when we're finished being a wife, that we say, oh, who am I as a woman? So,
Mm-hmm.
usually our self discovery starts between 45 and 50 because our children are like, we're going into consultant age. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why your book was so impactful for me because I was already in this self discovery stage. And
Right.
discovering you is it's such a powerful name of the book. As you can see, everybody who's watching, the book is in
Thank
the middle. And, please share this discussion if you find it interesting. Please share it right now. Comment. As you notice, I post comments when you're commenting. So share the discussion. It'd be really, really cool to have more discussion on this and questions for Kiki. And if you
you.
have any questions, please ask them while we're talking. Just put them in the comments below, and we will definitely let you know. So going back to your book, you discuss the neuroscience and the connection with spirituality. What are the tips in your books that you talk about in order to help you discover you and have that self love?
Most persons when they hear self love, they think that, oh, it's supposed to come naturally. Like, aren't you supposed to just naturally love yourself? But because of how we're programmed from our past experiences, it's forced us to disconnect from the truth of who we are. So every child is born with their purpose already on the inside, and it's our roles as parents just to guide that, just to love that child and just watch and monitor and guide, not oftentimes project or browbeat or push or expectations on our child. um, that's a very hard thing to do because of course we have grown up in a society that is based off reward and punishment. You do this, you're rewarded, but you do the opposite and you're punished. And we don't always ensure that the child knows that no matter what you do, you're always loved. We kind of attack the person of the child if they do something that we deem inappropriate, right? So when you start doing that, especially with our boys as well, when you have a child. So here's the thing: when we come in the world, the first way that we communicate is through what? How do we communicate? We cry. We
It
cry.
sounds, yeah,
We don't have
emotion.
emotions. We don't have words yet, right? So
Mhm.
the thing, when we're children and we don't have words, but we have emotions, everybody around us starts paying attention. Oh, is the baby hungry? Is the baby hot? Is the baby cold? Is the baby wet? And then when you get older, you now are supposed to use your words to express how you're feeling. Because if you use your emotions to express how you're feeling, it's no longer acceptable. Now you're going to say you're not emotionally intelligent or whatever it is, because once you have your words, you have to express how you're feeling. But how many children are encouraged to do that from birth? How many children are actually encouraged to say, how are you feeling? Use your words and explain to mommy how you're feeling, especially our boys. We have a tendency as mothers where we always try to figure it out, especially for our boys. What happened to you, Johnny? Johnny, what's happening? Oh my God, is your head hurting, Johnny? Are you hungry? Are you cold? Like, you have to lay off and allow Johnny to think what he's feeling, to make that connection, to know how to express it. right? And then we have another thing with our boys where boys aren't supposed to express emotions. Yo, my youth, you must man up, my youth. Yo, you must hardcore, my youth. What are you doing to the boys? So we have trained our children to disconnect from themselves and then show up in the world confident in who they are. How are they going to know who they are? And then when they get to be teenagers, this whole paradigm shift start happening because now we've trained them one way. Society has these expectations of them, and their small voice is on the inside trying to say to them, "Who am I? Who am I? Can I please find it?" Yeah. And then now they're in a world that they're overly stimulated and overly exposed. So they have way more to navigate, right? And then when you get to be an adult and you still don't know the truth of who you are, here comes the depression, here comes the anxiety, here comes the
Oh,
pleasing, here comes suicide attempts, here comes the escapism, here comes all these things.
well, that's the thing. I think it happens way before adults. I mean, the escapism, the depression, anxiety coming from I mean, teenagers are having it now.
I'm just saying about the battle
And
gets
then you
even
can't
more.
throw in sexuality and the differences because you see, this is the thing. You say society projects, but a lot of times we parents are the projectors of society.
That's
We
what I'm saying.
are so busy trying to get our kids to conform that we're not
Exactly.
realizing that we're hurting our children.
Yeah, we rob them from the truth of who they are. So when it comes
Yeah.
on to
Authentic.
identifying self-love, one of the first things anyone has to do is start monitoring their thoughts and their
Mhm.
feelings. It's the first. Here is it on the basic level, right? So you come into this world, automatically your brain is like a sponge. It's the greatest computer in the world, right? You're going to spend your first 7 years of your life in a state called theta. And what theta is, it's a state where it's almost like a trance. You're almost in a hypnotic trance, just so you can observe all the structures around you. Okay, how am I supposed to behave? What's happening? So you're paying attention to everything that's happening from your parents, your siblings, the community, your environment, just so you can know, hey, okay, this is how I fit in. Once that starts happening, your thoughts, every thought that you start having then, are now going to impact and define who you are as a person. So, on a scientific level, every thought that you have releases a chemical. If you're having a good thought, it might be dopamine. If you're having negative thoughts, your serotonin levels might drop. So, every thought you're having from that early age, Queen, releases a chemical. That chemical actually has a cycle where it's going to make you feel like the thought you're having. So if you're feeling sad, if you're thinking that I'm unworthy, if you're thinking that, nobody loves me, if you're thinking negative thoughts, you're going to keep releasing these chemicals, and these chemicals are going to wreak havoc on your system, and then it's going to further fuel more thoughts of you feeling insecure. So you're going to get caught into a redundant cycle, essentially. And once that starts happening over years, it's going to become part of your personality. And you're not going to be aware that you have control over your thoughts because, again, the thought is going to now almost go on autopilot. You wake up in the morning, you're going to have the same thoughts, you're going to have the same feelings, you're going to do the things the same way, you're going to approach life the same exact way, and you're going to just feel like life is a joke. How am I going to get up every day and living like this? There must be more to it. But the more that you're searching for is actually if you're going to be able to change your thoughts and become greater than your environment. So self love is not what you do. Self love, people think that, oh, I'm exercising, I'm eating healthy, I'm going to the gym. Yeah, I'm going to the spa, I'm taking some time for me, I'm doing me time.
Yeah.
But my definition of self love is what are your thoughts? What are the thoughts you're having about yourself? We have 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts on a daily basis, right? 75% of those thoughts are negative.
Not me.
And 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that you've been having for the last like 30 years of
Yeah.
your life. So you're programmed. So when you stop the program and you say, Carrie, how are you feeling? And you start getting inside and you start monitoring the self talk,
Mhm.
start going off, okay, so the belief, the thought, the feeling, the emotion, the behavior.
Mhm.
You have to look at your behavior. It all starts there.
Yeah.
What is your behavior? Why did something affect you that way? Why did you react that way? Why did you respond that way? And oftentimes, Queen, I can tell you, most of us are battling the same insecurities. I am unworthy. I am unloved. I have some
Mhm.
physical ailment, I'm not rich, I'm not smart. It's usually the same type of insecurities that we
Yeah.
all have. And we have to stop the script. Because here's the thing, we're perpetuating our parents' brokenness once we allow them to continuously be the voice in our head. You're going to have to come to a point in your life where you start taking responsibility for you.
Yeah, you can't be angry at your parents for teaching them stuff that they were taught, and the generational guilt and the generational trauma and the generational everything.
You are greater than that. So here's the thing, when it comes on to trauma as well, we've had traumatic experiences.
Hmm.
All have had traumatic experience, some more than others, you know. When it comes on to something like as traumatic as rape or a violent attack on your person, those things really play on your psyche. But did you know that trauma only becomes trauma after about 14 days of your brain going over the event? Did you know that?
And
That
also without and the last, so I'm actually trained in trauma informed practice, and trauma can be as simple as having a mother or father with depression.
yeah,
And it's on the ACEs. I mean, the questions are 10 questions. You're like, really? Like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that can be a trauma. And then on top of it, what they're saying, why trauma? And I've always said this in my show is the rape itself doesn't affect you. It's the lack of resilience, the lack of the external and internal resources you have within you to overcome the trauma.
and not only that, and again, it's a self-talk, because here's the thing, when it happens, automatically you're going to be, oh my God, you're going to be like a chemical zone of emotion.
Yeah, because the power has been taken away.
Exactly. And then what's going to happen is your brain is just going to start playing that event over and over and over again. And if you're not able to stay present in the moment and tell your brain literally, okay, the event happened, but we're safe in this moment. We're safe in this moment. It's okay in we're going to be okay in this moment. Like, if you're not aware of how to speak to yourself in the most loving way during a traumatic experience, ooh, it is going to jump on you like a lion on a wildebeest, and it's going to stick with you
Oh,
forever. And
hands down, hands
yeah,
down. I had that
it,
same reaction. I had that
yeah,
same reaction. I mean, recently, I had a trigger to my trauma. So you're referring to,
yeah,
they're also not immediately or 14 days, but even 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line,
yeah,
you have a trigger. It could be
thing,
something as a
yeah,
song. It could be something as the way somebody touches you. That's a big trigger. The
a
way I had to tell
smell.
myself it is not the same situation. It's not the same person. It's not the same anything. Like I had to talk myself out of the trauma.
The thing, how are we going to get to know to a point to parent, teach our children that their self-talk is going to create their lives? You understand? So when it comes on to self-love, for me, as I said, self-love is not what we do externally, but what we do internally, or the conversations that we're having with ourselves internally. And one of the modalities that I actually use a lot in in my workshops when I work, especially with women, is I do mirror work. My mirror work is just a little different. It's nothing like too heavy or deep, but it gets women to finally stop
Mm,
and look at themselves and connect, because usually men do it too, but I'll speak to my woman, is that we stand up in front of the mirror for two reasons, queen: either to fix or to criticize. Oh my God, look at the wrinkles. Oh my God, look at my nose, look at my teeth. Like, we
yeah.
that's what we do. We look in the mirror for two reasons: either to criticize or to fix,
Mhm.
right? It's rare that we stand up and look at ourselves in the mirror, look at ourselves dead in the eye, and say, you know what, baby girl, I love you. I'm loving on you today. And when you look in the mirror, oftentimes I see it happen all the time where women break,
Yeah.
break down when they're looking at themselves because they haven't been able to do it. Some of them tell you that they can't. Some of them start feeling, because now they're connecting to their soul.
Yeah.
Some of them feeling the things that they've been running from, and they don't know if they can cope or push through. And all they need is just your guidance to hold them. Because here's the other thing about trauma, pain, and everything that we've been through from our past. Hi, ready?
Yeah.
Healing is prevented from happening because persons fear the pain of healing
Mm.
to move forward without realizing that if they survive the pain of the actual event, they can survive the pain of healing through it. Because when you're healing, the pain is going to hit you like a wave. When you stop and you realize everything you've been through, all the broken concepts, your broken relationships, the people that took advantage of you, the situations you put yourself in because you didn't love yourself. When you look back at your life and the reality and the pain starts raging through you and you feel like you're going to die while you're alive, it can make people break down mentally. Yeah. So
Yeah,
my whole thing is helping women understand, and men too, but women understand that you can go through the pain and guiding them through it. Because once they get through the pain, on the other side is bliss.
yeah, yeah, it's true. It is true. And again, it goes back to, like you said, um it is exactly that. It's the resourceful, it's being having the intern. And let me explain a little bit more what internal and external resources is. You're referring a lot to the internal resources, that self talk, that self conversation that you're having with yourself to say, this is not happening, I'm safe now, this is, it wasn't my fault, or it was, I could have done this better, but this, but you're beautiful, you've resolved, you've survived, you've become, things. And then they have the external resources, where we have to be conscious about our external resources. We
Mhm.
can't just accept people because they're related to us, and they are talking bad to us. If they are not a good external resource, because you need both to recover from trauma.
You, you
You
do.
need both. You cannot do one without the other. It's like a seesaw, and it's like a balancing scale. And if one is tipping over, you're not going to recover. So you need those positive external resources to surround you. And we have to be, that's another self talk we have to do, and self care that we have to do, to say, hey, you are too toxic. No matter who you are, I love you and release you, but I have to care for myself and not have you around me. But I
And
love you and I release you. I thank you for
yeah,
your tests that you've given me, but now I need to heal. And I
yeah,
need to, and self-care is also who you surround yourself with. I am all red because I had amazing self-care yesterday, because I had all my amazing children around me, and I watched them and I interacted with them. And to me, that was self-care, because and my sister-in-law was with me, and I had I was surrounded by people who loved me, who supports me, and are kind and civil to me.
mhm.
And that to me is self-care. I had the best day of my life.
Awesome. And that's so true. And I think for me, even with everything that I've gone through, that's something I speak about as well. That I was always very aware from a young age about the angels placed in my life. So whether it was for a moment or a lifetime, I was always very aware of the angels around me. So persons will say to me, hey, how, like for example, even on the ACE test, when it came on to trauma or whatever it is, I aced the ACE test, so to speak. Like almost everything that would have been on that test
Mhm,
was all projected for my life, and I went through it. However, the other half of the test for resilience, I scored equally high because I've always had people around me,
mhm.
yeah, just always, and I'm just aware of them because people can be around you and you don't realize the resource that you have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm always very thankful, and whatever you give thanks for, you get more of. So if you walk past me and you give me an ice mint today when I needed it, 10 years from now, I will remember. 20 years from now, I will remember that ice mint and give thanks for it. And if I can turn around and give you a truckload of ice mints or something that you need, if I'm blessed, then
Mhm.
for sure I will. You know what I mean? I just think it's so
So
important. I really do.
how how can we get your book, Kiki? I mean, I know it's in Jamaica and published in Jamaica, but how can we get your book?
It's actually on Kindle. It's Kiki Tom's Discovering You. The search is over, so it's actually available online at Kindle on Kindle platforms at this time. And yeah, I'm just pretty excited, and I just wanted to mention when you were talking a while ago that oftentimes, wow, this is so powerful. So oftentimes the things that rub us the wrong way mean that there's something, or shows us, it's giving us a clue of the things that we need to fix, right? So when we experience something like anger, because you're talking about, persons being toxic in your space and that you can, push them away. Oftentimes, in addition to setting the boundaries that we need to set for ourselves, which we don't always learn, but in addition to setting healthy boundaries, one of the things is you have to be aware that whatever it is that they're doing to you that's making you so upset is a clue of something you need to question within. So again, and I don't want to make this too graphic, but if I'm holding a gun to my head, if I'm the one holding the gun to my head, and you walk up and pull the trigger, who is to be blamed?
That's a good question.
Why did I have the gun to my head in the first place? So my representing here, that gun would reflect my insecurities, my negative thinking, the beliefs that I have about myself that I've just taken up from other people. And so if I believe that I am unworthy, and you come up and you do something, your intentions were not to hurt me, but remember, I can only see you through my perspective or my rose-colored lens. Yeah. So you come up and you do something, it rubs my insecurity, the first thing I'm ready to do is attack you or project on you. Why would you say something like that? Da, 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 da. But
Yeah, but there
I
are
didn't.
people, unfortunately, and this is where the self care comes, that there are people in your life that intentionally want to hurt you, to bring
Yeah,
them
but
the pieces of their
yeah,
insecurities.
but if you don't have a gun to your head, they can't affect you. Is what I'm saying. Whatever it is rubbing you, if it's personal to you, it's personal to you.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
get- If so, if they do something that you find offensive, you have to stop. All right, what is going on? Why am I reacting this way? Where did this come from? And how can I fix it? Because once you fix it, they won't have that opportunity to trigger you or to be that thorn in your side because you would have placed where it came from. Yeah. So again, it's
No,
work.
I agree with you. However, there are scenarios that I'm referring to that, yeah,
Yeah.
you don't react. It doesn't upset you. However, there are people that hurt you.
And you just set your
That
boundaries.
self
That's
care, and that self care is, you know what? If you're intent on hurting me, then I have to have bigger, wider boundaries.
have to.
And
You
that's
have
the thing. But it's being aware, because a lot of
yeah.
times these people who are constantly hurting you and you're not getting a clue are the people closest to you, because you think, no, they wouldn't hurt me.
You train them. You train them that way without even realizing it as
Yeah,
well. Again,
yeah.
programming. Oftentimes, if you take an approach where you want to be the person to hold everybody together, or you want to be the one supporting everybody and be there for everyone and stuff, persons will oftentimes just take as much as you give. And if you aren't aware of how to give to you, then you will give what you don't have. And
Exactly.
when doing it, then it will just deplete you. But when you become aware, then you start setting your boundaries. So that's it. We just treat people. We teach people how to treat us. And again, when it comes on to our triggers and our insecurities, I'll just say this: anything you say after "I am," you essentially become. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
And so I've never seen an insecure baby. I've never seen a baby say, "My head is big, my nose is big. You don't love me. I don't love me." It doesn't work that way. So anything that we have created, anyone who's taken advantage of us or doing anything that really infringes on our space, is showing us that we don't yet know, or we haven't set our healthy boundaries, and we're probably giving too much of ourselves to people without giving to ourselves. So,
That's amazing. So you can get the book on Amazon Kindle or fly to Jamaica and buy it. it's
or that,
it's
or that.
called Discovering You. The search is over by Kiki. Yeah, you say Kiki.
Kiki Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Kiki
think
Toms.
I say
So
yeah.
that, and it does. I mean, like I said, Dr. Matola said it very well. He, to love oneself or to practice world civility, in order to treat others as you would like to be treated, we have to want to treat ourselves well and to love ourselves. And just to review, I mean, this book teaches you how to, it's not the self-love where you, oh, I'm going to the spa, or I'm going to go and meditate and take a nice walk. It's how we speak to ourselves and how we look at ourselves and how we, our internal conversation, that we have, and
Yeah,
that's where the self-love truly starts, because our mind leads to our actions. So
exactly.
thank
And
you
it's a
so
that much
much.
out the perfect book. Thank you. And I say grungy or grimy because it's real. That's what I say. It's a very real book. And it's real because it's not sugar coated. So I don't want anyone to think that, oh, it's going to be one of those guru books. Like, like I'm floating on a cloud. No, I talk to you about my struggles, my challenges, my everything. So
I
yes.
know what
And there's
that's what I love about it, is the fact that you have that exact thing. You talk about your real life in it. That you aren't just somebody that, oh, I'm studied this all my life. No, I experienced this.
yep, firsthand. Hand.
So before
And
we
then your book is
so before we sign out, we're going to talk about our collaboration. So I did mention it on the live stream last week, Friday at the conference. Again, I'll be posting the conference on YouTube, and I'll be sharing it through all social medias. So you can, if you've missed the conference on Friday, you can always look at excerpts of them. And I will be editing out the issues that I had with sound. But it was just amazing. So Kiki and I, as I mentioned, we're hosting the first Family Civility National Day Conference. Family Civility Day is November 15th. It is a proclaimed day in a national day. It's an actual national day. Very excited about it because of the fact that we are it's just extremely exciting that this is happening. All this is happening. It's a vision of mine. I'm the founder of the National Family Civility Day. And
yes.
just loving it all, like, just so that's the day. um just to give you a little heads up, a national day of proclamation and it's November 15th. However, the conference, which is on a Sunday this year, yay, but the conference is on a Friday, and
Yes.
the Saturday and the Friday and the Saturday is the conference days. Friday night we're having a gala and awards dinner where we will be awarding people from all over the world Family
Wow.
Civility a Day awards. And that, just to let you know, you can always go to familycivilityday.com, or you can go to Family Civility Day on Facebook and actually message me and nominate.
Nominate.
Yes, you can
Exactly.
nominate. This is not a dictatorship. Nominate why you think somebody deserves, or an organization. So where we do it is that they have promoted family civility, the social empower. They have empowered families for to do their own sustainable development. So I give you an example. In Jamaica, Wisinko has an amazing campaign on
Mhm.
recycling, and it's very family oriented, that the family get together and they recycle and they clean up the environment, which is, one of the SDGs. But they really empower families to do it. And so that's an example for an organization. For people who, a lot of family counselors who have helped families through hard times.
Yeah.
We look at the executive director, well, everybody at Family FP, the child CPFSA, and child development, Professor Sams Vaughan, we had her, definitely an awardee of National Family, a nominee of Family Civility Day. So please make your nominations and just say why you feel that person has helped families and empowered families and recognized all different type of family types and celebrated them. Because
Mhm.
we're not just talking about the nuclear. How have they celebrated and helped them, all different family types. So that's what we're doing Friday night. Friday and Saturday will be the conference, and we'll be discussing everything there is to do on how to maintain, establish family civility in the world. And yes, it will be held in Kingston, Jamaica, because that's my home of birth, and I could not have my first conference not in my home of birth,
Wow.
my birth home, my country of birth. That's a word. I knew it sounded weird. In my country of birth, which I'm very excited about. I'm very proud Jamaican, very proud Jamaican. So I'm excited. And Kiki has been amazing, the queen, the fellow queen, that has said, yes, I am going to help you do this. I believe in this, and we're going to do this in Jamaica. So
We
it's
are.
all big excitement. We're going to be announcing our destination. We just have to secure it, but we have our hopes of where it's going to be. But
Yes,
it's
indeed.
definitely in Kingston, Jamaica, November 13 to 15. Kiki, what's your take on when I approached you about Family Civility Conference and the Family Civility Day, which we're going to celebrate on the Sunday with all families, have a big
Yeah.
typical Jamaican family event, a family event.
Yes.
What
Family
was your
event.
take on this?
You know what? Listen, I've seen your work over the years, and you have touched so many lives and the lives of so many parents, parents who might not otherwise have had an opportunity to be exposed to the information that you were handing out at that time. And it was just so powerful and impactful. Just so someone who is from a inner city community, you know what I mean, or a rural community could just turn on their radio and get assistance with one of the biggest things in their life, which is parenting. And that was just amazing to see how many lives you touched, and to see your passion just continuously grow and you growing as a person, and being at the level that you are in terms of now wanting to help families across the world and you want to start with your birth, your home of your birth first. I was like, I'm sold because of your passion. I was sold because of your vision. I was sold because of your why.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey and a wonderful, wonderful journey. And I just want to say to everybody, because I think our story, how we got together to do this, is so powerful. I was in Jamaica doing community development project, and I had no chance to see anybody during this project. I was walking community 12 hours a day, sometimes 18 hours, everything. And I got a moment where I could actually pop to the radio station and be able to say hi to everybody. And I actually delivered my book that I've already written, which is Communication is a Family Game, which in all fairness talks about authentic, games to help, family games
Yeah.
and ways to help people get their authentic self, that same self-love and appreciation. And it was really funny because I my brother called me and I said, listen, I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm saying this bluntly because it's really dynamic. Because I was like, listen, can I call you back? I have to go to the bathroom. And if I did not go to the bathroom, if he didn't call me, which delayed me to go into the bathroom, when I came out of the bathroom, who do I say walking by? And
Yep.
if I had not delayed going into the bathroom, if I had not gotten a chance to go into the station at that time, I would not have seen you at all, or even
Amen.
said, "Hey, and then do you remember what you turned when you
Of
saw
course.
me?"
I was floored because I had just seen your photo, because of course your photo is still up in the station, and I had just seen your photo like the week before, and I was like, oh my God, I wonder how Rebecca is doing. Like, like you cross my mind, you're in my spirit, and you usually pop up in my mind just because again of how powerful your show was, and I feel there's a void, missing on the local airways where that's concerned. So you were popping up, in my thoughts every now and again, and then the week before I stood up and looked at your photo dead in the passageway, and I was like, I wonder how Rebecca is doing. And then I saw you.
And then you saw me. I mean, so it was just, it literally was a situation where I was looking for somebody to partner with in Jamaica to help me plan this in Jamaica. And this dynamic happened. And as I said, I had to tell her, this is where this whole love and
Rwanda.
yes, from Rwanda. Yes. I mean, this is how far this conference is going to go in November 13 to 15, that we are going to have people thank God, through technology, that we
Oh,
can have people from all over the world. We'll be streaming the conference live on social media, for those who cannot fly to Jamaica and make it. But we really hope for your presence, because in all fairness, we're going to discuss family civility. Yes, I may founded the National Family Civility Day. I may have founded the concept, written the book about my theory on it. However, this is when we all get together and say,
Like,
okay, how can we now do this? Because great minds, you need great minds. No one script is written by one person.
that's right.
And even our lives are not written by us. They we live
Amen.
them, and yes, we write them. However, we have influence from so many different sources. And
We
that's
do.
where this conference is. It's going to be November 13th to 15th. We're going to be celebrating family civility. We're going to have our family fete on the 15th, which is Family Civility Day. And those who are coming from abroad, you're going to love how Jamaicans celebrate family. Like, we are having the bounce about, like, we're having gardens, music. It is going to be a family fete. Like, no, like, I'm so excited.
Me too.
And
Me
I
too,
want to
Queen.
thank you so much for
Thank,
coming on board and believing.
thank you for sure. I'm honored. I see you is all I can say. I see you. I
I
see
see
you.
it. No, this is happening every which way. I want to thank Dr. Clyde Rivers again. He's the one, as we said on the show Friday. He sees the light in you, but he doesn't just see it; he ignites it.
Ah,
And
beautiful.
he ignites the light. He sees the light and he ignites this light in you, and that's what he has done for me. And I'm excited, and he's hopefully coming to the conference himself. And I'm excited to see him there, as well as all the wonderful ambassadors that I had on Friday. Friday was just a taste of what you're going to get in Jamaica. Not to mention
Yes.
the lovely sand, sea, and water. It's in November, which is a nice time of year. And the reason I
Amen.
chose November is because we actually celebrate Parents Month.
Yeah.
And it's always been a nice day for me, the nice month, and we'd go big. That's why. And then we launched Friday because it was Child's Month. And so we
Child's month.
celebrated Child's Month by doing the conference. So that will be happening next year as well, where we'll do
Yes.
a live virtual conference for Child's Month, and then we'll do the actual conference. And it can, if you are interested to host Family Civility Conference in your country, we have no problem. Kiki and I have no problem, because now Kiki and I are partners in this, that we
That's
will
right.
come and host it there.
That's right. Amen. And we continue to spread the message. And I love you know, Clyde's Professor Rivers's take on world civility, which is integrity and self-love.
Yep, he is the world spokesman for civility, appointed, and I mean, it's just, this is just, it's inspiring. You inspire me. Your book inspired me. It really, we say, a lot of people are saying the same things in different ways, and
Mhm.
your way, first of all, it's written by a Caribbean person, so that's a whole different take, because we think differently. And you have your own experience. You talk the truth, which is very Caribbean.
Thank
We talk the truth.
you.
and
Thank you. I love
I just want to commend you. It's an amazing book. Well done, well done, and thank you so much for sharing today.
yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, Queen, for thank you.
thank you. And this is Let's Talk Family Civility. I have next Monday, I have Dr. Christine Kozacek, who Every Girl Wins movement. So we're still on the case of women. Don't
That's
worry,
right.
men. I'm not going to forget you. You're definitely part of it. And we're going to have a lot of people every Monday, 4 p.m. Please, please, let's talk family civility and get the word out there. And thank you for all of those who watch Patrick Cohane. He's doing amazing stuff in Ghana. Um, really amazing stuff in Ghana, helping children, helping orphans, fighting against human trafficking. I mean, big
Ooh,
fight against human trafficking. And I really commend Patrick for all the work he's doing. Jackie, oh, she's from Jamaica. Hello. Trust me, talk about family civility. She was part of my family and helped me with my family. And the kids
amen.
still ask about her. And Theobert, Chris, he's working hard in Rwanda as well. And so it's all over the world. Thank you very much for commenting today. Thank you for all those who watched today. You know, live good. I know it's hard times through COVID. This is a time. This is a time. Hey, Kiki, this is
It
now
is.
the time to look in the mirror because you now have the time to look in the mirror.
If you can't go outside, it's time to go inside. And the inside I'm talking about is inside you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Live good, walk good, and just be civil today. Thank you.
Mhm.